The horrors of genocide are among the darkest chapters in human history. Welcome to our investigation into the dark secrets and cover-ups associated with major genocides. From systematic extermination to deliberate efforts to hide evidence, we will uncover chilling realities the world must never forget. The air hangs heavy with the stench of death at Auschwitz-Birkenau. This place, now a somber memorial, was once a living nightmare for those who were imprisoned here. The silence is deafening, echoing the cries of countless souls who suffered and perished within these barbed wire fences. This was the epicenter of the Holocaust, where millions were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime. The scale of the atrocities committed here is almost incomprehensible, a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty and the dangers of unchecked power. The Holocaust saw the extermination of 6 million Jews and another 5 million souls, Roma, LGBTQ individuals, political prisoners and others. Each group targeted for their identity, their existence deemed a threat to the twisted ideology of the Nazis. Concentration camps became factories of death. These were not just places of imprisonment, but meticulously designed systems for mass murder. Gas chambers extinguished countless lives, their cries for mercy swallowed by indifference. The victims, often unaware of their fate until the last moments, were herded into these chambers under the guise of taking showers, only to be met with lethal gas. Those who weren't murdered outright endured forced labor, their spirits broken by relentless cruelty. They were subjected to inhumane conditions, starvation, and brutal treatment. Survivor testimonies painted a harrowing picture of life and death under Nazi rule. Their stories, filled with pain and resilience, serve as a powerful reminder of the human capacity for both evil and endurance. The Holocaust stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of unchecked hatred. It is a call to remember, to educate, and to ensure that such atrocities never happen again. The Syrian desert holds a dark secret, a secret buried beneath the sands and whispered by the winds. It is a tale of unimaginable suffering, a story that echoes through time and space, reminding us of the fragility of human life. This is where countless Armenians drew their last breaths, victims of a systematic campaign of extermination by the Ottoman Empire. In the early 20th century, the Ottoman government embarked on a plan to eliminate its Armenian population. Under the cover of World War I, they unleashed a wave of violence. Armenian homes were ransacked, families torn apart, and those who survived were forced on death marches into the desert. Deprived of food and water, they succumbed to exhaustion, disease, and starvation. The brutality knew no bounds, with massacres and unspeakable horrors. The Ottoman government went to great lengths to cover up their crimes. History was rewritten, with the Armenian genocide erased from official accounts. Eyewitness accounts and foreign diplomats chronicled the unfolding genocide. Archives provide irrefutable evidence of the genocide. The Armenian genocide stands as a reminder of the human capacity for cruelty and the consequences of unchecked nationalism. Cambodia's killing fields, unearthing the horror of the Khmer Rouge. The term killing fields refers to the numerous sites in Cambodia where mass killings occurred during the Khmer Rouge regime. These fields are a stark reminder of the atrocities committed. From 1975 to 1979, under the Khmer Rouge regime, Cambodia was transformed into a vast prison camp. The capital city, Phnom Penh, was forcibly evacuated, leaving it a ghost town. The regime's radical policies aimed to erase urban life and modernity. Led by Pol Pot, the Khmer Rouge aimed to create an agrarian utopia through forced collectivization and elimination of perceived enemies. Their vision was a classless society, but it quickly turned into a nightmare for millions. Cities were emptied, and intellectuals, artists, and professionals were targeted for elimination. Anyone associated with the former government, foreign governments, or even those who wore glasses were seen as threats. The killing fields became synonymous with the Cambodian genocide. These mass graves are scattered across the country, each one a silent witness to the horrors that took place. Millions were executed, their bodies dumped in mass graves. The regime's brutality knew no bounds, and the scale of the killings was unprecedented. The methods of execution were brutal, often to avoid wasting bullets. Victims were bludgeoned to death with farming tools, their cries unheard in the remote killing fields. The regime's obsession with secrecy meant much of the killing was carried out in remote areas. This secrecy made it difficult for the outside world to grasp the full extent of the atrocities. Testimonies from survivors paint a harrowing picture of life under the Khmer Rouge. They speak of unimaginable suffering, starvation, and the constant fear of execution. The Cambodian genocide serves as a reminder of the fragility of peace and the consequences of unchecked power. The Khmer Rouge's radical ideology and ruthless tactics left a deep scar on the nation. The Cambodian people have shown remarkable resilience in rebuilding their lives and nation. Despite the immense trauma, they have worked tirelessly to restore their communities and preserve the memory of those lost. Memorials and monuments now stand as a testament to the resilience of the Cambodian people and a solemn reminder of the past. These sites ensure that the world does not forget the atrocities committed and the lessons learned. Today, Cambodia is a country on the path to recovery. The streets of Phnom Penh are once again bustling with life, and the nation is making strides in education, healthcare, and economic development. The rich cultural heritage of Cambodia is being revived, with traditional festivals and practices being celebrated once more. The spirit of the Cambodian people remains unbroken, a testament to their enduring strength and hope for the future. Holodomor, Stalin's silent massacre in Soviet Ukraine. The fertile plains of Ukraine bear witness to the Holodomor, a man-made famine engineered by Stalin's Soviet regime. In the early 1930s, Stalin sought to crush Ukrainian national identity. Under the guise of collectivization, Ukrainian farmers were forced off their land, their harvests seized, villages were surrounded by armed guards, cutting them off from the outside world. Every grain of wheat was confiscated, leaving families with nothing. As starvation gripped the land, desperation set in. The Soviet government implemented a campaign of denial and propaganda. Foreign journalists were barred from entering Ukraine. Those who spoke out were silenced, branded as enemies of the state. Decades later, the true extent of the Holodomor began to emerge. The Holodomor stands as a reminder of the dangers of totalitarian regimes and the consequences of unchecked power. Personal stories from survivors reveal the harrowing reality of the famine. Families were torn apart and many resorted to desperate measures to survive. Historical documents and letters from the 1930s provide a chilling context. Stalin's policies were meticulously planned to break the spirit of the Ukrainian people. Today, Ukraine commemorates the Holodomor, ensuring that the memories of those who suffered are never forgotten. Rwanda, 100 Days of Darkness. In just 100 days in 1994, an estimated 800,000 people were slaughtered. The Rwandan genocide was rooted in ethnic divisions, fueled by decades of resentment between the Hutu and Tutsi ethnic groups. The Hutu majority turned on the Tutsi minority, unleashing a wave of violence. Neighbor turned on neighbor, friend turned on friend. Hutu militias roamed the countryside, hunting down Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Churches became killing grounds, their floors stained with blood. The international community stood by as the genocide unfolded. Peacekeeping forces were powerless to stop the slaughter. The Rwandan genocide was a failure of humanity and leadership. Stories of courage and compassion serve as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The roots of the conflict can be traced back to colonial times when Belgian colonizers exacerbated ethnic divisions. Families who once lived in harmony were torn apart by the violence. One survivor recalls hiding in a church for weeks, fearing for their life every moment. The children of Rwanda bore the brunt of the horror. Many left orphaned and traumatized. Despite the darkness, Rwanda has made strides towards healing and reconciliation, showing the world the power of forgiveness. Remembering the victims, fighting for justice. We carry the weight of millions of lives lost, their stories etched in our collective memory. Together, we can honor the victims by fighting for justice and creating a world where such atrocities are never again allowed to happen.